everyone, What's Carlton here. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. Today is an open Q&A day. Some of you have questions. Some of you have questionable questions. So do we have a question? Do we have our first victim
We
from
do have a
anyone?
question. Is there a way to silently repair a FileMaker Pro installation? Our IT provider corrupted some of our users' FileMaker Pro registry entries. The FMP URL association with FileMaker Pro was broken, and we would like to be able to run the installation again and automate the selection of the repair option to fix the registry entry. Is there a hidden option for repairing the FileMaker Pro installation using the silent installation options? We want to find a way of repairing the installation without having to manually run the install program.
I have two answers. One, so they actually posted the page that I was talking about, which is there's another. Okay, so this one talks about the silent installation. That's one of them. There's another term that Claris used to use, and I'll be honest, I just haven't looked up the documentation on it recently, so maybe this stuff all went away and only applies to older versions. I don't think that's the case. They probably carried all of this stuff forward. There's also a term net install or network install that Claris has used historically that had honestly substantially better documentation about how all of this stuff works. I don't know if they specifically handle the repair argument though. A problem I personally have had with honestly, Claris's Windows integrations over the years, is that a bunch of these don't behave the way that you want them to and aren't sufficiently automated. I often have problems with, you try and do like a completely silent installation, which it tells you how to do that here. It doesn't. It's not silent. It's not that has a particular meaning on Windows, which means there's no dialogues. It doesn't ask you any questions. It's got to either read everything, in this case, it'd be from the assisted install.txt or from whatever it defaults or picks things for you. Fine. That I've had issues with a lot of that kind of stuff over the years. The other way that I would answer, and so sidebar, the other way that I would answer this question is it's technically a valid solution. If you can't get a repair option running, there's two things that you can do. One, you can do an uninstall and a reinstall. That's technically the same thing. That's obviously silly, and it would be a lot of work for the computer, and probably the user would be waiting a bit, but it would function. The other is URL protocol associations are one or two entries in the Windows registry. Those could be pushed out to the relevant computers via a group policy or an AD update of some kind. I don't know how to do that personally. I can't tell you how to do that, but your IT people absolutely know how to do stuff like that. It may, in fact, be the way that they broke it in the first place. So,
Jacob, I want to pivot to part of this conversation, but part of the previous conversation. So we've been discussing running updates to FileMaker Server, and the latest version is 21. It was 2101, which was shipped. Yep. And then Claris shipped a 2102 to patch, and they're working on a pro patch. So as some of you know, that's what I'm talking about with Claris, trying to get them on the show. It's coming. We don't have an exact date. It's not a major release. It's just the bug fix kind of stuff they're doing. But something came up that because Jacob sees behavioral differences between releases of FileMaker Server, and FileMaker Server kept forgetting its license key on an upgrade. And Jacob has now done 431 FileMaker Server 21.02 updates, and all 498 of those things failed. Yeah. It did not bring forward the license key at all, which means it's deliberate.
Yeah.
So would you
I have a 100% failure rate. Please, for voice and video reasons, note I am using air quotes here. It was reported to Claris as a bug, and they went, "Oh, that's very interesting. Could you collect some information about that?" Which is wonderful, and polite tech support, reply to this, and maybe they don't know either. That's fine. It's 100% failure rate. I've been doing the upgrades to 21. They're actually going well, to be honest. We don't have any as we said this before, I don't have any huge outstanding things. You just absolutely need to go put the licensing back into the server when you're done. Every single one of them that I've done that's an in-place upgrade, like 2019, whatever patch version you're coming up from, it has not mattered. Once you get to the far side and you're on 21, go check the licensing page on the admin console, because it will probably be in trial mode.
What happens if they don't think about this and don't do it? What are the symptoms? What will happen, and what are the, shall I say, long-term symptoms?
You will have a really randomly weird and bad day 45 days after you do the upgrade, because the trial license will expire and FileMaker Server will close all of your databases safely and refuse to open them again until you put licensing into it.
So to be clear, if you don't do this, your upgrade will work just fine, and everyone will be given high fives and raha. Good
Yes.
job. And then 45 days later, while you're on vacation,
Guess who did this? I'm smiling.
did you get called on vacation for this?
I
Jake?
did not know. It was internal. It was our internal servers. It didn't matter.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. So yeah. So
That's where I learned it from. And I was like, oh, that would be that I missed it on the internal servers that I'm trying to do, multiple at a time or something like that, just to get them done. Because we'd done some client ones previously and hadn't really run into any issues. And so I was like, we'll see, whatever, who cares? Well, if it blows it up, it's, I'm the one that has to deal with it anyway. So,
It's funny. One of the community questions I saw, I don't know if it's like a bug that's universal between server and pro, but someone was having to reinstall the pro license every time they opened FileMaker. So that was interesting.
they have FileMakers identify. Okay. Their computer could be broke, or they could be high, or somehow FileMaker Claris Corporation, when I say FileMaker Claris,
Doesn't think that they bought it.
they think it's a bad license, that it's been stolen or something, would be my guess.
yeah, if it's marked as, I don't know, whatever you'd mark that as, marked as something is a problem, basically. The other thing I could think of is if it's on Windows or something, if you have a sufficiently obnoxious security system, it could be blocking the initial, because it puts the license file and the details and stuff that go with it in your user folder. So if there's something that's blocking that from happening, it's possible that FileMaker would otherwise work for your usage purposes because it loads it first and then writes the file out or something like that. But then when you come back up again, you have nothing because the backside of it failed or whatever. I don't know. I could imagine a scenario like that. Basically, I'm not sure.
That can and will happen with host, like your favorite host. You set up a favorite host.
Oh, mm-hmm.
And then and you're doing it, and then suddenly you crash. It pro for some, nothing bad really happened. You crash pro. You come back. Where's your host? Some things that FileMaker Pro and probably Server 2 only do when they're being closed down, and one of which is write the host to a non-volatile spot on the hard drive somewhere.
The nasty one, the really nasty one that a lot of developers run into is the same thing as true of the data viewer. The calcs in the data viewer that are stored in the data viewer don't appear to be written to disk until you close the app or something like that, which is interesting. I'll just leave it. But if you crash FileMaker, after having added calcs to the data viewer or something like that, you will sometimes have no calcs afterwards. And I don't know if that means that they got corrupted or what the actual functional problem is there, but you lose them. That's the short version for you. So
yeah, some of the stuff isn't saved until you quit FileMaker. So that's the way that works.
No.